I know 3 families in Florida. Right? Or 2 other ones. My sister's daughter. My daughter. They drove up. I'll do the road trip when I go home. Yeah. You missed a lot.
Okay, will you yell at Kathy?
Can you hear me, Kathy? Yeah. My mic isn't on.
I walked in, I had another right.
Yeah, I don't work till she. Can you hear me, Kathy?
I don't think they're on.
They're on.
They're not on.
Oh, those, I'm talking about the meeting.
Oh, okay.
Now they're on.
I don't think these things. No, they are. That's Leanne. Which way is it? You have it on. I did. Yep. You can hear. You can hear.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you. Hi, everyone. It's Kathy's daughter. I'm trying to get her on audio. Can you guys hear us?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Mom, they can hear you. Okay.
I'm gonna mute it for just a minute, Kathy, because we still have a few minutes, okay?
Just in case.
Aaron, you want to see Leanne Shields? That's the mayor. That's the mayor. Oh, okay. I can't hear them.
I'm just gonna mute it just in case.
Got it. You can set it down. You can set it somewhere and still participate. I do that often. I know.
We're not recording yet.
Oh, yeah, we're live.
Oh, we are.
Oh, yeah. Full blown shebang, yes.
All right. We're live. We just have to start.
Come on in.
Inspection,
Oh.
nobody out here?
No,
Should there be?
no.
Oh, no, I need to report at Walmart, somebody being an idiot and pushing the car into the truck.
Okay.
Said to come down and talk to you guys.
Yeah, can you pick up the phone out there and they'll inside that Sally port there? Just hit that intercom button. Just hit that intercom button in the Sally port and they'll take care of you.
called Brian? Have you called Brian and Debbie?
At 6 o'clock, if everybody wants to stand, please. Say the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
You're gonna go.
Thank you. Call this evening's meeting to order. First, I think we have an introduction.
Yes, I would like to introduce, and congratulate and give condolences to our new interim Chief Corbin. So please, everyone, welcome with me, please.
Thanks for stepping up.
Yes.
Okay, first item is the consent agenda. Did anybody on the council have any questions on the consent agenda?
I wanted to make a correction on minutes.
Should we watch?
When we were talking about the vendors at the park, I made the suggestion that, bids put out for the food trucks. And, we discussed it a little bit, and then, at the end, Kathy and Lee both agreed that they thought it should be put out, and they even discussed, I mean, it was even mentioned maybe having a vendor down at the
It's just human.
Rock football field, Rock Haven, whatever they call it, Rock
Stadium.
Yeah, Rock Stadium. Anyway, it was I listened to it again on YouTube last night, and I just made the suggestion that they put the food truck, put it out for bids, and you said that, at the time, you said that, Wes going to call different vendors.
He did. He has actually someone lined up to be down there,
Did they
but I
put it-
can definitely add your suggestion to the minute.
Well, I suggested it, so,
Yes, I can add that.
okay.
Anything else? If not, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented and authorize the mayor to sign.
A second. Smale?
Aye.
Hayes? Aye. Heckman?
Aye.
Hi.
Thank you. Next we have comment public. Thanks everybody for coming. If you're here to speak on 302 North Oak or either of the public hearings, that's coming up in a little bit. So is there anyone that wants to speak on anything else that's not on the agenda? Come forward. Hi, Amanda. If you can keep your comments to 3 minutes or less and then give your name and address for the
Try to
record.
be quick, because I
Yep.
got two things. Okay. Amanda Klein, 604 South Pearl Street, Villa, Kansas, 66071. I would like to request that the city would choose revenue neutral in this June's budget meeting. Property tax appeals were up 300% in Miami County. This is a good indicator that citizens don't want their taxes raised. Hard days are ahead for the citizen with inflation, water rate increases, and a recession. For a local example, at the school board meeting last night, it was noted in the Greenbush reports that poverty has increased in USD 368 student population. And the same report was that this summer, due to federal regulations, they will not be providing summer meals. This is an added financial stress for families already struggling with inflation and recession and increased utilities. I'm asking for a collective effort from all of our tax entities, city, county, and the schools to remain revenue neutral and grant financial tax relief to our citizens. I understand that the city faces rising expenses as well. But as citizens, we don't get the options to go over our budgets without consequences concerning rising expenses. I'd also like the council to consider these images when phase 2 ball field plans are being made at the Rockwall Stadium for each council member. Please consider the least expensive replacement options for overall construction materials in the event that another flood. Maybe we should choose grass so that we can replace with grass seed. That might be cheaper. I'm not sure, not a constructor, but that might be cheaper than turf. And also choose other flood-friendly materials, construction materials that are needed. But please consider the cheaper replacement option when overall construction materials are voted on. Thank you for your time and consideration. And my approach to give each, okay. There's photos from all directions, north, northwest, and east, northeast of the Rockwall Stadium in these photos. And according to the first photo, which is concerning, the water does reach to a very high level on the rock wall. Just consider, I know I don't want to take anything away from our youth and our community, but I just would ask that the cheaper replacement option be considered concerning the flooding and revenue neutral. So thank you for your time.
Yep, thank you,
Amanda,
Amanda.
can I have one of those for the council person that's not here?
Definitely.
Thank you.
Amanda, can you just tell me what date these were taken?
These were taken in 2017,
Okay,
the
good.
last flood. I
Okay,
didn't put that on there. I did put little piece of the tape over the ink because I didn't want everybody to get ink on their hands, but I did not take the time on, oh gosh, I don't know how many of these I printed. I think there's 11 per person to write 2017. This was the 2017 flood.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Anyone else? Okay. Moving on to old business. First, we have a public hearing for 115 West Via, and we need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Smale,
Aye.
Hayes, Peckman,
Aye.
Phillips.
Aye.
Okay, we have a staff report first.
Yes. So a little background, at the March 14th meeting, the city council reviewed the preliminary report from Keith Myers, our building inspector. At that meeting, the council decided that it was appropriate to approve resolution 2023-006 to set the public hearing for today's date to allow for any owner, agent, line holder, or occupant to submit evidence, as well as hearing and reviewing more information from the hearing officer on the state of the building. So Keith Myers has actually done an inspection, updated inspection, and Jessica can go over that with you. You have the pictures and inspection report on your desk.
Yes, so as Randy mentioned, 115 West Via is owned by Thomas Wright and Jennifer Wright, with lien holder noted as the Kansas Department of Revenue, with no known other parties of interest. Keith did his most recent inspection today on 5/9, and his comments include a continuing collapsed roof, unstable walls, which are shared by neighboring buildings, unstable floors, open entry points such as missing doors and windows, and it does not appear to have any updates since the last inspection, and there was no permits pulled to make updates since that last inspection on 3/10 of this year. So all the pictures included show the boarded up front entry. The interior, you can see daylight coming through, which notes that the roof has been collapsed. The pictures of broken and missing windows. Brush growing up the back just shows the building's unmaintained, and then the exit door out the back where he had to mark it off with the do not entry sign.
That second picture where you see the daylight, is that the roof?
That's completely in,
You can see the material there on the ground floor.
and the HVAC unit sitting in there.
Oh, yeah.
And random hill.
I'm gonna leave you a set of keys.
Are there any comments from the public about 115 West Via?
If I may,
Alan Hire, 15895 Lakeshore Drive, Paola. This is an ongoing thing, been here before, you guys know the drill. You need to decide whether you're gonna demo it, save it, repair it, have a hole in square, how you're gonna remediate the two buildings next door to take care of water infiltration. I just hope that this can all be done as expeditiously as possible. The Lasher building is taking water from the roof through the wall into the basement of his building. And I can't tell you if there's any problems in the dance studio, but I would assume there's some deterioration there, even if nobody knows it. Needs to be handled quickly, and I'd like to see it safe, because I don't want the hole in the square.
Thank you, Alan. Anyone else?
Sterling Lasher, 28310 Lone Star Road, Paola. Okay, our concern on our building is, as Alan stated, there's water. We need a new roof on our building, but the roofer won't do it until that problem is taken care of. And so we need a situation that's bad taken care of as soon as possible. Okay,
Thank you, Carolyn. Anyone else? Now can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
I move to close the public hearing.
Snail,
Aye.
Hayes. Aye. Peckman.
Aye.
All right, now we consider a resolution of the findings.
So I drafted two possible resolutions for you. Option one would be to have them repair the building. Option two would be to remove the building. So on your drafts, I highlighted the areas you need to choose a reasonable time to get them to commence the repairs and for the done or to remove it safely. So there's two, choose an option and choose time for the resolution.
You said the minimum is 30 days. According to something. We're to our next council meeting.
Yes. 30 days next month, yes. So as discussed at work study, if the council would choose to demo, a demo permit for the city of Paola is good for 60 days. That doesn't mean you have to do the 60 days, but if you look at the two highlighted timelines in the resolution. So if you do choose 60 days, the owner would have to pull the permit within 30 days and have the whole thing completed within 60. So that's not 90, that's total of 60 days. So that can get a little wonky. So I just want to go ahead and clarify that. But like the state statute, it says a reasonable amount of time. So we can't give them a week, but you have to give them a reasonable amount of time, considering we have to publicly post it and publish and send certified mailing. That's why the 30 days is typically standard for that.
And we have to choose whether we are having them repair or remove.
Yes, that should probably be item number 1. And then item number 2 would be timeline.
And no communication from them still.
No communication from the property owners, no.
So the likelihood of them doing either is probably not.
Correct, but legally we have to give them the option.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ready for a motion?
If you're ready, if you are ready.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2023-010, finding that the structure located at 115 Westway is unsafe and or dangerous, and directing the structure to either be repaired or removed and the premises made safe and secure.
We have to decide repair or remove.
Yeah, choose either repair or.
That's why I was just saying the likelihood of them doing one or the other is probably not. So I would lean more toward repairing, just because that saves the building for now. Repairing?
I'll amend it
So we're
to,
not gonna do all the, I mean, who's gonna repair it? I mean, this is telling them they have to repair it. Instead of removing it, because if we say, I mean, you guys can do whatever you want. But I would like to at least, if they don't do it, get the chance to see if it can be repaired.
So they'll have 30 days to decide.
either way. Right? Am I wrong on that?
I'm trying to get your thinking here. So you want to give them the option to repair,
But same timeline.
same timeline. So 30 days to get the permit, 60 days to completely have it repaired. That's what you're throwing out.
I'm misunderstanding also, because I thought we were legally making a time limit tonight, but that we would have an option whether at the end of the time limit to either have it repaired or to tear it down.
So you're kind of mixing two things together. First step is to give the owners a chance to, you choose either that needs to be demolished or repaired. Well, first off, if you decide it's dangerous, those are your two options, demolish or repair. So you choose one of those. That's why we have two draft ordinances. So one says demolish, one says repair, if that is the choice. And then after you decide it needs to be demolished or repaired, then you choose a timeline. Once that timeline expires, that's when the city comes in. We have to legally give them the option.
That's why I'm leaning more toward repairing it.
So they
And just tear it down.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I might be completely off what you guys are thinking.
Right, because if they would go in there and just start hammering away at stuff, that could make it worse for us after 60 days.
Yes.
And they haven't responded at all.
No.
That's what I was saying. The
They have not
likelihood of them
responded.
doing either is probably not.
So if we give them 30 days to repair, and then at the end of 30 days, they haven't done anything, then we vote to tear it down.
The city can repair it
Yes,
and then charge the cost towards the property owner.
yes. So step one would be give the property owners a chance. And then after that, that's when the city comes in and we have options as well. We can either repair it, we can demolish it, we can do a whole lot of other things with it, but we have to give the property owners the option.
Have you had an engineer look at it yet?
I would not do that until you guys decide.
Which that's why
Which would be
I'm
repair
leaning
part.
toward the repair, because if you demo it, then we don't have a choice at the end. I mean,
It looks cleaner that way if we were to repair it, yes. If the structural engineer comes in and gives us advice, if we can repair it, yes.
yeah, I mean, there's still a chance it could be demoed, but
Yes, absolutely,
if the building's gone already, then there's,
No chance.
absolutely.
I mean,
I amend my motion to make it a repair rather than.
Okay.
I second that.
And the timeline that's on here, the 30 and 60 days.
As soon as possible.
Yeah.
Okay,
30 days.
well, it would be 30 for them to pull a permit, 60 for total. Yeah. Which is highlighted in the resolution. Is that, okay.
A second on that.
Second.
Debbie,
Snail,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Heckman,
Aye.
We'll have it down.
Right. Okay, next we have the public hearing for 809 South Silver. Okay, to open the public hearing,
I move to open the public hearing regarding 809 South Silver.
I'll second.
Snail,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Heckman,
Aye.
And the council resolution setting the hearing date. As the previous agenda item, we're to review all the evidence submitted to give the owner, agent, line holder, and occupant an option to submit evidence as well. Keith Myers also did a new investigative report, which is also on your desk with pictures as well. And Jessica will go over that with you really quick. Okay, so 809 South Silver, the owner is shown as Tracy Peterson with no known record of lien holders. His inspection comments from today include electrical service does not appear to meet code. Brick is falling from the building, windows have been removed, allowing access to the building. Garage doors have been removed, allowing access to the building. Holes in the exterior wall, holes in the roof. The east side of the building is leaning towards the alley, and the building appears to have been cleared out of most of the debris that was previously pictured when he did his original inspection.
And then if he did attempt to get, so you can see some roof pictures, the roof is falling in on one, that was not part of that original packet when he went out. So you can see holes in the roof, and then if you look at the interior picture, you can see daylight coming through some of those roof structures. This one, he did note though, that it appears the owner has been on site to start some cleanup, so it does show interest in the property.
Have you talked with Tracy? Peterson?
Briefly after the initial, the previous council meeting.
Not lately.
Not recently, no.
Just a housekeeping note, on the top of the dangerous structure inspection, it has the 115 Westview. At the very top,
Okay.
the right address is up, down, further down. Just when it goes to refile.
Thank you.
Has anybody given him a list of what needs to be done, correct? And make the buildings usable? Has anybody give him a list? Or I thought that was one of the things we were doing tonight. Was to give a list to him.
Has it right here, items through 8. And it was also, I mean, he had notification, it was published, he had notification of everything as well. Do you want to ask for a public comment?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Are there any public comments on 809 South Silver? Thanks, Randy. I was busy looking at.
You're good.
Alan Hire, 15895 Lakeshore Drive. There are deficiencies. Tracy has an interest in bringing the building up to acceptability. We know what some of those things are. We're not sure what all of the things are. So it would be help Tracy, you know, he has thoughts on the repairs of things he'd like to do over and above what was listed now, but he's challenged because of, if he does one thing, then that puts him in another position on the rules, and he would like to have a long sit down to understand what you want the property to look like when it gets done, how nice he has to make it, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, and sit down after this meeting and really go through the process of, okay, if I do this and this and this, is this acceptable? Don't want to get into the feeds and the details, but then unfortunately, kind of messed up what I said last week, but they are back from Houston, but they're having some complications, so he's unable to be here this evening.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I move to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
Snail,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Heckman,
Aye.
Hill,
Aye.
Okay. Now we consider a resolution of the findings, and this is the same. You
Yes.
have to decide, repair or remove, and then decide the timeline.
Yes, at work study, we discussed some options for a typical building permit. You have 180 days, 3 months before it expires if you don't have an inspection. If you have an inspection, it's renewed for another 6 months, so essentially a year if he works. So I feel like giving him the option would be beneficial to follow that timeline that we have established for every other building permit. Considered he showed interest.
Yes. And he's already done a little bit of
Cleanup.
cleanup down there.
And I think that the zoning, maybe you can sit down with him and go over a list of, I mean, talk to him and discuss what needs to be done.
Honestly, that should all be done as he submits building permit information, and that will all be discussed as part of that process. So, yes. I would keep the 30 days, so give him 30 days to come in and get the permit, and then 180 days to start work, and then it'd be renewed essentially as the
As it
permit.
goes.
Yes,
We have to do 180 days to start work.
you don't have to, but that would just be following our city code permit timeline. That's
I'm
for a
just-
building permit.
I just don't want to see us get into another situation like we're currently in.
that would be completed in 180 days.
Yeah.
Is how the resolution reads. So he wouldn't have 180 days to start it. He would have to have it done in those 180 days.
He has, what, 90 days to start?
He has to get,
If he gets a building permit?
in 30 days, yes,
Okay, so I misspoke. I said it would renew like hours. So you're saying to complete it in 180 days total.
right, have the
Okay.
repairs completed.
So 6 months to have it completed.
Okay.
And then, as has been in the past, if we see good progress, it's always open for discussion.
He can, at the end of the 180 days, he can approach you for an extension. Yes, that is always an option.
Anyone have any thoughts or questions? If not, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
We already did that.
Oh.
Okay, you don't,
I move to approve resolution number 2023-011, finding that the structure located at 809 South Silver is unsafe or dangerous and directing the structure to be repaired and the premises made safe and secure.
I second.
Mayo,
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Heckman,
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Business. I think most of you are here for. We're considering a zoning map amendment. And before we get on comments, I just want to thank city staff for all of the hours you've spent getting this all ready for us. There's lots of questions, concerns, scenarios, so thanks for all the time you spent on it. All right, and before the council are 3 different motions. And I will now open up to public comment. Just a reminder, this is not a public hearing, just public comments. So you have 3 minutes, please. Keep it close to that if you can. And just come up in whichever order.
Several of them are looking at me.
Your name and address for the record, please.
Justin Elliott, 307 North Oak. And I'm speaking on behalf of myself and several of the neighbors who've asked that I come up and address the council. I've given you way more information than I can cover in 3 minutes, so I'm gonna buzz through this and try to highlight a few things that I've found in looking at this. During the work session, there was a comment that was made that everyone wants growth and development. They just want it down the street from them. That's not what this is about. I've talked to anybody who wants to see that building sit empty, deteriorate. We want to see the building used, revitalized. We would love to see it kept and kept up. Our objection, however, is to the change in zoning to thoroughfare access and the possible long-term implications of that. Try to avoid the emotional comments and fear comments and that kind of stuff and just focus a little bit on facts. I spent some time looking through the land development ordinance and the comprehensive plan. And I've got some things to highlight out of those two. With some help of Jessica, I got some clarification on some of the verbiage. The description of thoroughfare access specifically states the district's intensity accommodates most community, commercial, and business activities. These non-residential uses shall be limited to parcels having access to arterial or collector streets. So I asked for what access to meant. And Jessica's response was that having access to arterial or collector streets would be interpreted as having a driveway depositing onto a street that intersects with an arterial or collector street. So almost all of Paola meets that part of the definition. The next sentence in that description, however, states that interior areas are intended to be residential. And again, clarification, that states, or that means, or could be interpreted as, an interior area could be interpreted as not having direct access to arterial or collector streets, which 302 North Oak does not. So if it is interpreted as such, and if the comprehensive plan and the LDO are followed, even if the zoning is changed to thoroughfare access, that property should only be used for residential use. From the City of Paola's rezoning application, statement 8 says, in evaluating a request for a map amendment, the following standards shall be considered. The proposed change is consistent with the city's comprehensive plan and the purpose of the land development ordinance. It also states that the proposed change is consistent with the character of the neighborhood, the extent to which the property is consistent with zoning and use of nearby properties. From the comprehensive plan itself, it says that requests to rezone or otherwise modify the zoning of a property should be reviewed for conformity with the adopted comprehensive plan. And I've provided 10 examples there as I went through the comprehensive plan where it does not conform, it actually contradicts, in my opinion, with the comprehensive plan. If I provided you with some copies of the maps there, I want to refer to page 5 of that map, which is the future land use plan, which again is part of the comprehensive plan. The purpose of the future land use plan is to serve as a guide for future development, be used as a basis for determining appropriate zoning, property being developed or redeveloped, and should be consulted when reviewing rezoning requests or development proposals. And again, if you look at that comprehensive plan, there's a legend, I believe, on page 4. It refers to that property as low density residential. While you're looking at the maps, page 1 of that, the first map is the existing land use map. It shows which areas are currently thoroughfare access, and these are NCR 1 or neighborhood conservation, which is what that area or that neighborhood is currently zoned at. Pages 2 and 3 are the current zoning map and the street classifications map. Again, the print on that one's really hard to read, so I apologize. But again, that page 3 shows or map number 3 shows the arterial and collector streets. And just at quick glance, if you compare those two maps, find a thoroughfare access district that's not right on an arterial or collector street, with the exception of a few of the new subdivisions, there aren't any, at least not that I could find. The page 6 is refers to statement on that one that talks about medium to high density development and the fact that they're primarily located along major roadways and commercial areas. And one other thing I read out of the comprehensive plan that I wanted to point out on page 272 of that comprehensive plan, should the city believe it is appropriate to rezone a property in a manner that is not consistent with this plan, the future land use map and any impacted policy should be amended as part of the rezoning application or action to ensure consistency with the comprehensive plan. Care should be taken to carefully document the justifications for an amendment to this plan and findings adopted as part of the official record. Again, we want to see the building utilized, saved, but we just ask that you consider this based on what your LDO and your comprehensive plan state, and not out of nostalgia or. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Stuart Bond, live at 110 Tower Street. My wife here is Stephanie. We've lived here roughly 30 years and raised our family here. Love the town. I felt like in the meeting a month ago, we were kind of a little bit betrayed. Felt that way, feeling. And because it just got voted on so easy. And I don't think that most of the neighbors around the area wanted that to go through or wanted it to happen this way. I've heard a lot about how people don't want to tear it down. People went to school there. My old grade school's gone. It's been torn down a long time ago. I mean, I'm getting old. So, but the issue with it is, I don't know where the city has any issue with that at all because they don't own it. Anybody that owns that building can tear it down whenever they want. And they can build on their residential homes or whatever you zone it for. And it doesn't have to be this home. It could be the second, fourth, fifth owner. So I'm not sure why the city council would be worried about that building being torn out because they don't really have any say in it. Anyway, that's about all I have to say. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hello.
Hi, I'm Amanda Sitzman, Realtor for 302. I just have a few questions, actually, and clarify, the options here from my understanding are that you guys can grant, but either way, no matter what rezoning you guys choose, anything that is being done, still has to have approval from the city council, correct? So if there is a rezoning that were to take place, whether it be, for the venue or for anything else in the future, it would ultimately have to be approved at the city council level, correct? Okay. So my only 2 cents here that I wanted to add is that I can just vouch for the Haven and the people who are going to be coming in and just say that I think that the ability to bring something so beautiful into something that you guys have all said is something you would like to see come back to life. From my understanding, the zoning was not residential to begin with, so understanding that the zoning around it being residential, that the school was there first. So knowing that the zoning should be considered that it's never meant to be residential, it was put that way because of what was built around it. So to say that there's an opportunity to bring something so beautiful to the city that you could approve and everybody could be happy with, understanding the long-term effect of rezoning that to thoroughfare access means that somebody could eventually come in. The concerns are that my client here is able to finish the rezoning or finish the renovation on it, or he decides to pursue something else that somebody else could come in and now with that rezoning, they could build multifamily, or they could build something that you guys are not comfortable with. You guys would ultimately have to approve that. And so I think that the question doesn't become, do we want to approve necessarily just the rezoning, but do we want to approve something that's going to really become a crown jewel potential for the town, and something that I can vouch for my client to say he does everything with excellence. And if anybody's taken any time to look at anything that he's done with his venues, everything that he does is top notch, and it would be something that the town would be extremely proud of. And from my standpoint, you guys have nothing to lose if the long-term concern is that the rezoning would allow for somebody else to come in and do something that would ultimately not be as beautiful or as well done as the Haven would be doing. And so my 2 cents is just that why lose out on an opportunity to bring something beautiful because potentially something long-term that you would have to ultimately vote on anyways could come in.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mark Fuchs, 9 Tower Street. Sensitive to the concerns about, or the point made about any future development still has to be approved. But this would seem to be an appropriate time to determine, let's put our arms around this issue and determine what types of uses are appropriate for that. And things such as an event center, and I'm speaking personally, I'm not speaking on behalf of the neighbors as it relates to an event center, that can be done with the CUP. And if the rezoning is allowed, it opens it up to future development, either changed intentions or a subsequent owner. Then you have to deal with this again. And the question really isn't event center or not, or it's really about, is that area appropriate for thoroughfare access and that zoning map amendment. So I think if we focus on what is the appropriate use for that area, that's the important consideration. If you were starting with a clean slate, even in a mixed use environment, I doubt that you would put a commercial high density usage with narrow streets and poor access and steep hills and T intersections and that kind of stuff. You wouldn't plan it that way. So why would we want to do that now? And again, I'm concerned about changed intentions and or subsequent owners. It's not a comment on the proposed contract that may be in place for an event center.
Thank you, Mark.
I didn't plan on saying anything on this topic, but since I'm listening, just fun fact. I had a friend that had a baby and she lives on a house on the corner at the top of the hill. And I was taking a gift card to her one time because, here you go get some Subway or something because you just had your baby. And I took the car and the car could not make it up that hill in the winter time, so I'm not sure what that building is gonna end up being, but that hill was really fun in the winter time with snow, and I backed down praying I wouldn't crash into this beautiful home that's over here on the, what is that, like southwest side. But yeah, that is one of those things that, you know, I wasn't planning on speaking, but that brought up a little core memory of when I was going up that hill in my little car and it gets slick, so.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My recommendation, I'm Pete Bell, my recommendation is follow your own LDO, which says all you need is a cup to put the event center in. If you change the zoning, like numerous people have said here, yes, you'll have some say-so down the road, but you can't deny people doing what they do according to that zoning. So the door is still wide open, including what was very alarming to me at our planning commission meeting. You're also working on tiny houses, which would be legal there. You were discussing getting the lot size down to 1 point something acres. There's 4 there, so this is the concern. Somebody said, you've got nothing to lose. You may not, but those of us who live there do. And you do have something to lose if property values go down, because 10 years from now, that whole area is developed in a negative way.
Thank you, Pete. Anyone else?
All right. My name is Blake Harris. I'm the proposed buyer for 302 North Oak. Thank you, public, for your comments. I appreciate, you know, I've had a lot of time and consideration in the rezoning of this, and I'm actually not the applicant, I'm just the buyer of the property. But I did send in a letter for you guys to read. A few big concerns, you know, and the biggest one I want to address on here is what Mark said was that I do have the opportunity to use the CUP for this property. And I just want to address that from my perspective as a business owner. You know, I own the Haven Event Space in Lewisburg. It's on 40 acres and is operated under a CUP, so I'm very familiar with how that process works. And when I made the decision to operate that business under a CUP, a lot of time, effort, consultation with attorneys and things went into it. Ultimately, it's a very private space. We're fully gated, fully fenced in the middle of a 40-acre property. Neighbors can't hear us, can't see us. There's no distraction. So we have no long-term concerns of a conditional use permit and the rules and regulations that Miami County was ultimately putting on us. I, however, have explained to you guys that, you know, the option for a CUP with this particular property at 302 North Oak is not an option for my business. And the simple reason for that is that there is residential houses just a few feet away, you know, and the fact of the matter is having neighbors that close that could have a say-so in that property, in that business. If I'm gonna come in and invest 7 figures into a renovation to bring this building back to life, that's not something I personally can risk. It would destroy my life if that permit were pulled. And so I just want you to understand that's the reason that I'm not willing to follow that process. So, you know, I've had neighbors call and we've had conversations and I've explained that to them, that it's nothing personal. It's simply a business vision and you have to look at it from that perspective. So, you know, moving on to that, I do want to invest long-term in this community. You know, I challenge you guys to think about why this property has been sitting there vacant for 10 years. The dreams of what they wanted to do with it have been hindered by its current zoning. I'm giving you guys an opportunity today to bring in a rezoning for this property, which will immediately allow us to begin construction and revitalizing this property and bringing it back to a beautiful space that this community can gather in for years to come. You know, the Zoning and Planning Commission saw the future of this property. They saw the value that the rezoning would bring to the community, and I urge you guys to do so as well. We keep hearing a lot about the future of this property. Where is it going to be? Where is it going to be in 10 years? What happens if the Haven falls through? It's not going to fall through if you guys say yes today. We're full steam ahead. Plans are done. Renderings are done. Financing is secured. We're ready to go. You guys are the decision makers on whether we proceed with this project or not tonight. You know, and again, investing from a community perspective, investing 7 figures as a young small business owner in this community, You know, the reality is I'm gonna be in that building a lot longer than some of these neighbors will likely be in those homes, you know, and so. I just wanna have you think about that the issues that they have are non-concerns from my perspective, because I will be there long-term, you know? So last thing I want to say, and I want to reveal if I can step out, I just want to say, you guys want to know what the future of this property is going to look like, I just wanted to show you. As it falls. Right. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Go ahead. I don't know if that follows the rules or not, but.
Mark Fuchs, I'm still at 9 Tower Street.
Yeah.
Again, this is not a comment on the event center. I know that there's also been a comment about the school was there long before any of the residents, but I moved there 20 years ago, knowing it was a school and knowing what the existing character of the nature of the neighborhood was. Also to the comments about a business owner and wanting some certainty and planning, I totally get that as well. But we as the residents, I've been there 20 years and there's a lot of people that have been there a lot longer. I think we also want some certainty on the neighborhood, and it's not something that we want to have to address on an ongoing basis. So I think leaving the zoning as is would be an appropriate move.
Thank you, Mark. Anyone else? Okay, if not, stop.
So obviously, we're all aware this is a request for a zoning map amendment from neighborhood conservation residential NCR 1 to thoroughfare access TA. Public hearings were mailed certified to property owners with a parcel within 200 feet of 302 North Oak on February 21st of this year. The hearing notification was published in the Miami County Republic on February 22nd, and the property was posted with the required notification on March 1st. Brady Brothers submitted their application for the zoning map amendment in February of 2023, and the public hearing was held March 21st, 2023 at the Planning Commission, which a number of the landowners that spoke tonight were also present at that meeting and spoke as well. They gave their public comment on the rezoning request, and the application stated that the desire at that time was for multifamily. And notifications received by me via mail spoke out and opposing that as well. So that is not a permitted use in the current NCR1 district. At the March meeting, it was announced by the applicant that there was a contract with the Haven Event Center, which is a permitted use by a conditional use permit in the NCR1 district. Due to the fact that the application was for a change of the current zoning district and not based upon current or future use, the decision was made to move forward with the public hearing. After taking public comment, commissioners voted unanimously to defer the motion until the April meeting. The applicant was informed that they had the opportunity to withdraw the application due to the event space being a use permitted by a CUP and the NCR1 district. The applicant chose to move forward with the process, and commissioners voted 4-2 in favor of the zoning map amendment at their April 18th meeting. As stated previously, it is currently zoned NCR1. There are some non-residential uses allowed via conditional use permit, and an event space would be considered one of those. The zoning district desired by the applicant is thoroughfare access, which provides for a high-quality, moderate density development with a full range of residential and non-residential uses. It was stated earlier on the zoning map application that there were some inconsistencies with the LDO or with the comprehensive plan. Section 1-11 standards for a zoning map amendment do allow for a zoning map amendment which is inconsistent with the comprehensive plan. A finding should be made that one or more of the following applies: a mistake, changes, plan amendment. It was taken under consideration that this would apply to changes that state the assumptions on capital investments, road locations, population trends, land committed to development, density, use, or other comprehensive plan elements have changed and justify the amendment. Section 212 thoroughfare access district, underneath that, just, which we've gone over several times and has been noted several times, definitions of the thoroughfare access district. So it is, at the discussion of city council, if you wish to accept the planning commission's recommendation and approve the zoning map amendment for 302 North Oak. Alternatives noted are adopt such recommendation by ordinance, override the planning commission's recommendation by a 2/3 majority vote of the member of the council, or return such recommendation to the planning commission with a statement specifying the basis of the council's failure to approve or disapprove the proposed amendment. If the council returns the planning commission's recommendations, the planning commission, after considering the same, may resubmit its original recommendation, given the reasons therefore, or submit a new and amended recommendation and findings of fact. Upon the receipt of such recommendation, the council by a simple majority vote may adopt, revise, or may amend and adopt such recommendation and findings of fact by ordinance, or it need take no further action thereon. Staff recommends approval of the zoning map amendment 23 RZ01 for 302 North Oak to rezone from neighborhood conservation residential NCR 1 to thoroughfare access TA Brady Brothers LLC applicant. I have attached a list of possible uses in the TA district, along with possible uses in the neighborhood conservation district. Uses noted on here that do not require CUP in the current district would be a single family detached home, a group home, an institutional residential home, which would include sheltered care facilities or group living facilities where residents live in an institutional environment, drug and alcohol hospitals and rehabs, institutional housing, dormitory schools, home occupations, including a home daycare where a family uses providing no more than 5 related children or adults. And then uses in the current zoning district that require CUP will be a guest house, assembly or worship, which includes a museum and aquarium, cultural or art centers, institutional neighborhood, which includes a cemetery, a church, or other public or private indoor institutional uses, commercial office space, and commercial retail space. And there are several noted items underneath there, which includes in both of those categories. Included in the thoroughfare access possible uses is commercial retail, heavy retail and service, and mixed use. Some examples of those would be standalone brick and mortar store like a Dollar General, self-storage facility, or commercial mixed use would be commercial space on lower and residential on upper level. All of those would require site plan review like planning commission and then pass on to council for their approval as well. I know that was a lot going over, so if you have any questions, please feel free.
Anyone have questions?
I have something I want to say.
Sure.
Okay, first of all, I want to thank all of you for coming tonight on a rainy night and for all the other nights that you've come. It's very encouraging to see the interest from the public on an issue. I'd like to say that the present owners bought the property knowing that the zoning was NCR1, neighborhood conservation. And the building has been up for sale for about a year. The owners it has remained empty for years, up until a year ago when they put it up for sale. I think one of the most important things in all of this is the fact that there are 3 streets that dead end on 3 sides of the North School. They dead end, they don't go anywhere. And it's Tower Street, Oak Street, and Walnut Street. And in using this map, I marked arterial streets in Paola are Silver Street, Old KC Road, Industrial Drive, Baptiste Street, and Hedge Lane. The thoroughfare access in Paola, the streets now that are thoroughfare, are just what it says. They're located in busy streets. They are both sides of Baptiste Drive, 3 sides around Lake Mary, Old KC Road, north of Baptiste to Miami Lumber, Avista, which was Ursuline Academy, Hidden Meadows, and Rockwood. Those are all thoroughfare access. And also South Silver at the Dairy Queen, Evergy, and down to Papa C's. And all the schools and church and Heatherwood and the country club are zoned suburban. There's no thoroughfare zoning in the older residential area of Paola. And I just think it's very important to remember that 3 streets that dead end, and there's no access to an arterial or collector street around the building.
Thank you.
This is in my district, and I've listened to my constituents, and it's been unanimous that every one of them is against the zone change to a thoroughfare access. I wouldn't be representing them right if I didn't agree with them. I do agree with them. And it's got a CUP, so it can be used for other things. They can have it that way, but I'm against us changing it to a thoroughfare access.
I know how I feel and it'll be revealed soon enough. I appreciate so much. I've received so many letters and phone calls and emails, and every single one of them have been so respectful. And I was waiting for somebody to not be, to give me a reason to, delve in deeper. But you're a hardster on your sleeves, and I appreciate that. And I just want to say I appreciate
The turnout.
yes, over and over again on a rainy night, as Leah said. So
I'll make a motion. Option 2, possible action, motion to deny a zoning map amendment. 23 RZ01 for 302 North Oak to rezone for neighborhoods, commerce, and service. Conservation residential, NCR1 to thoroughfare access, TA.
I second it.
Smale,
Aye.
Case,
aye.
Beckman,
I have a question. Dave, did you do option 2? Dave?
Yes, it's option 2, Kathy.
Thank you. I vote yes.
I am voting against option 2.
You're voting.
You're voting. I'm voting to deny it.
Yes, so
Yeah,
you're
no,
still voting yes.
I'm voting. I'm voting against. I'm voting to deny it.
Okay.
or deny.
Option 2.
Thank you. I know there are neighbors that are in favor of the event space under a CUP, and I know that you're not interested in that, and I can appreciate that. So, thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Let's give everyone a moment.
Yeah.
Hang weapons, Kathy.
She's.
Excuse me.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. You're hanging with us, Alan?
Can I take one moment?
Yeah.
Great job, as you put so much time and effort and all that energy into all information you provided, so.
That's why I said thank you before we started.
It's been a long.
It's not a reflection of your hard.
February.
I know.
No.
It's not a reflection of your hard work, Jessica.
Okay.
All right, consider a conditional use permit.
Take it right
Yeah, oh yeah, we're gonna do public hearing about this first. Okay.
Public hearing already had this.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah. Easy one.
Yes, conditional use permit for 118 South Silver, Legacy Properties and Development. This will be for a light industry use in the downtown zoning district. At the April 18th Planning Commission meeting, they voted unanimously to recommend approval of the conditional use permit with conditions for 118 South Silver. The proposed business the existing business who would like to move in here and outdoors produces, packages, and distributes a line of deer feed supplements to distributors and fulfillment centers nationwide with no local retail sale. Planned on-site manufacturing will consist of small dyed and flavored pellets, which are currently patent pending. And due to the nature of the product, an integrated pest management approach has been included as a condition to the CUP. So the additional restrictions and limitations for the business that was voted on by the planning commission was to limit the business usage to the ground floor only, limit loading and truck access. Silver Street cannot be blocked at any time. Miami and Gold can be partially blocked from maneuvering to the alley between Wea and Miami. At any time which a street is to be partially blocked, the business owner must provide traffic control. Prohibited delivery vehicles from projecting into the street or blocking site triangle to intersections. Limit times of delivery to be established during the hours of operation. Control rodents by using an integrated pest management approach that includes environmental sanitation, proper product storage, rodent proofing, trapping, and poisoning. No exterior storage to be allowed. And at any time, the city may institute revocation of the conditional use permit for violations of the conditions of approval, expiration, or the reason specified in section 21 to 25 of the land development ordinance. The city shall provide notice to the landowner and the public in the same manner as which was provided for the establishment of the conditional use. If the issue is, does the city council wish to accept the planning commission's recommendation and approve the conditional use permit for light industry located at 118 South Silver, including conditions?
Anybody on council have any questions?
Yeah. Let me make a suggestion. Since 3204 was not approved for the last item.
Ordinance number,
Sorry about
Change
that.
it to 3204.
We'll change this one to 3204.
Okay.
makes definitely life easier.
Yeah. So when you make your motion, you'll make a motion for ordinance number 3204. There aren't any questions. Is there a motion?
I move to approve ordinance 3204 for conditional use permit 23-CUP-02 for light industry in the downtown zoning district at 118 South Silver, Legacy Properties and Development, LLC applicant.
I'll second it.
Mail,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Heckman,
Aye.
Shield.
Aye. Thank you. All right, sewer plant upgrade bids.
So, for the aeration basin diffuser replacement, Kirk's also gonna tag team the commissioner in a second, so, just in May of 2022, the city of Paola accepted the water and wastewater master plan, and in that was in the form of a clerk, and we said this last time, item like this, we had a big CIP program, but it was very large, so, Brett and Kirk, our sewer plant operator, have worked to kind of make that a little palpable and do some prioritization. So this is one of the items that were prioritized, and we just got a bid in, Friday morning. So we decided that we had enough to go ahead and put it on. To put it in perspective, the Larkin Engineering Company, who previously stated that users have supposed to have a 9-year lifespan, and we've been using ours for 17 years. So we have all of the materials, the bids are for the labor only, so, we got one from Schreiber Parkinson for $22,545, in CIS Constructors for $12,970, and we also tried to get one from Crossland, but they did not respond to us, trying to get free. The project will be paid from the city wastewater CIP fund. Attached are the two documents for you, the bid information as well. And Kirk is here if you have any questions.
Kirk, do you know why the prices were so different?
Yes, the CAS construction is local.
Oh.
That's peak, I believe, it's right. So they had 3 men for 6 days, labor, mileage, travel, expense, and everything.
When you see a discrepancy like that, sometimes it makes you go, well, sometimes cheaper than.
And CAS is the contractor that built the plant.
Okay.
For us too, so they're real familiar with it. And we've had to do other work out there before, they do a good job.
Okay. Are there any other questions? If not, is there a motion?
I move to accept the bid from CAS Constructors LLC in the amount of $12,970 for the aeration basin diffuser replacement.
A second.
Snail,
Aye.
Hayes, Beckman,
Aye.
Aye.
Great, staff reports. Corbin, you have anything?
As probably most of you saw on Facebook, April 21st, we did active attack training here in Paola. We hosted it and invited a total of 8 different agencies of all first responders to accomplish this at Lighthouse Church. Getting 8 different first responders, 3 different disciplines, EMS, fire, and law enforcement, to effectively communicate and get along. So it worked out good. It was successful training. It's the second one we've done in 5 years. We did one in 2019. COVID shut everything down. We did it again, so. Great training.
There's a bill on vacation, is that why?
We did pour that handicap parking down there in Clark Field.
Oh, okay.
And that sidewalk forward.
Okay.
I did put a good side, but I signed it and stuff. School is full, there's still a little bit of work getting it up and running. Most of that, we still got some still work on overhill we got to do, and it should be, next week.
Very good. Stephanie?
I don't have anything.
Good. Randy?
No, ma'am.
Jessica?
Scooters has their permit. So, I don't know, depending on weather when they get started.
Yeah.
We have planning commission next week. We have 2 public hearings and an assortment of flats and just run the gamut of it all. So it'll be a busy night.
All right. I was telling them there used to be a slow season, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it would be nice to have time to breathe sometimes. All right. Dave, do you have anything?
Just wanted to comment on what Chad brought up, the active shooter training and stuff. I'm glad to see we are staying active in that, because we don't want to see anything happen like some of them have.
Debbie, do you have anything?
Thank you for all your work. I know it's been crazy, but I feel like I feel good in our decision. So I know you did a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to hear about, the trailer park down the street from. The trailer.
Kathy, do you have anything?
I do. I want to thank Jessica for all of her work on this up there at the North School. That was not easy, and she put forth her best, and I thank her for that. Also, I'm going to sign off because let's face it, I'm in Florida. Bye-bye.
Rubbing it in. Leanne, do you have anything?
Yeah, I was just wondering, was supposed to leave some kind of equipment for the cleaning of the turf? Did you get all that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep, entrance on it.
okay.
Yep.
All right. There's just a couple things under mine, some appointments and reappointments to consider. First, consider the reappointment tomorrow to the planning commission. If there's a motion,
I move to consider the reappointment of Chrissy Mauer to the planning commission.
I'll second.
Smale,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Shield,
Aye.
all right, consider the reappointment of Alan Heyer and Michelle Kaiser to the convention and tourism board. Alan, do you have a statement that you want to make?
You want to be on it?
All right. If I can get a motion for that one.
I move to approve the reappointment of Alan Heyer and Michelle Kaiser to the Convention and Tourism Board.
Second.
Smale,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Shield,
Aye.
All right. This is weird. Okay, consider the appointment of myself as ex officio member to the convention and tourism board.
Do I get to comment on that one?
No.
Okay.
If we can get a motion for that.
No. Appointment of Lee House as ex officio member of the convention and tourism board.
I'll second.
Smale,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Shield,
Aye.
Thank you. Consider the appointment of Scott Chappelle to the convention and tourism board.
I move to approve the appointment of Scott Chappelle to the Convention and Tourism Board.
Second that one also.
Smale,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Shield,
Aye.
Thank you. You're welcome. All right. I don't have anything else. Other than tell Jessica, thank you again. Rest easy. That's behind you.
Yeah.
No matter what.
on to the next one.
Yeah. And if you guys would like to leave, I need a motion to adjourn. Or if you don't want to leave, we can stay. What?
So we-
I'll second it.